Hi, I'm Stu3D, and if you've been following my channel recently, you'll have known that I've been having various internet problems. It's been an absolute nightmare. Long story short, the Omen the other night, well, in the last few days, has really started to play up on the internet. Like, it'd be connected, full signal, but then no throughput at all. Nothing. It is just dead. I tried various things because lots of things in this house got updated all at the same time. So, router firmware, router's antivirus got updated, Windows had a cumulative update, and the Intel ProSet wireless drivers had updates. So first things I did, I reset the router, I rolled back the router firmware, and I still no luck, still the same issues. Every other device was working on the internet properly at the same time. Lots of issues there. So I rolled back the router firmware, reset that. That didn't work. Uninstalled, reinstalled the Windows drivers. That didn't work. Because I'd already cleaned up the Windows update, I couldn't remove the cumulative update. I went forward with Windows. I put an insider preview on it in the hope that might fix it. No such luck. So I then ended up corrupting my Windows install, trying to roll back from the insider preview because it gave me a load more issues. And then I got the boot device has failed on my hard drive. During that point, I then decided to boot into a Linux Live USB to rule out hardware. And then the Wi-Fi was still freezing on the Linux Live USB. So it's like, oh great, the Wi-Fi's freezing on that. It's got to be a hardware issue. So I was looking, because as I said, the Omen at the time was the only thing having problems on the internet. Everything else was working. So, the Linux Live USB was freezing like mad. But it worked when I plugged into Ethernet. So I assumed that the Wi-Fi card had died. I did a full format of Windows and reinstalled it. Same issues. And then I realised it was only happening when it was connected to the 5 GHz Wi-Fi, but it was okay on 2.4. So I did various tests. I split the networks. I had two routers set up with two different broadcasts each. One on guest net. Well, no, at one point I had the main router broadcasting out my normal network, which is one network name over two bands, so 2.4 and 5, and the devices choose as and when. I had two guest networks, one specifically on 2.4, one specifically on 5, one testing the DFS channels on the router, and the other, I had another 5 GHz router set up testing the lower channels to rule that out. And I was having various levels of success. And then I thought it was the trend. Then I noticed when the TV was connected to 5 GHz, everything would freeze. So I've now connected the TV via Ethernet. That solved the problem for a little while, and then it started freezing again. I was just having no end of problems with it. And then, I did that. I just could not fathom it. I then turned off all the Trend Micro antivirus protection built into the router, thinking that was the cause. The adaptive QoS, I thought that was the cause. I turned all of that off, and it actually was working quite stable. And then it happened again. However, it was when it happened this time that I realised something. Even though the internet was crashing, so you open up Chrome, not responding straight away, the local drive, my MyCloud wireless drive under the TV, was still working absolutely fine. So I was able to pull a file across from the local drive at 60 megabytes per second whilst having complete freezing on the internet. So I was like, that's really bizarre. And then I managed to get Edge to open, because unlike Chrome, it doesn't, as a hissy, if the internet isn't working properly, it doesn't have a massive hissy fit. And a couple of the websites were loading, and then that's where I discovered IPv6. I've had IPv6 turned on for months now, since I've had this Asus router. BT Infinity rolled out IPv6 end of last year. So various hi Corsic Paul. So BT Infinity was rolled out. I think I've pronounced it right. Corsic Paul. So I think I've said it right. But no, BT Infinity rolled out IPv6 last year, so I have had it turned on my routers since, and no problems at all. But it's been absolutely fine. However, turned IPv6 off on the router, everything is now absolutely hunky-dory, working absolutely perfect. And I'm like, how can IPv6 suddenly be working and then not, and it causes all these issues? So I've turned it off, touch wood, no internet issues at all. Now the reason I'm doing this on my phone is I want to show something, because I have had to fully reinstall Windows, but I'm a bit annoyed about that, because when I had Windows up and running before, it was running really well. However, I've reinstalled Windows, and when idling, I'm using even less resources than before. Look, memory's actually, something's loaded recently. It was the iCloud stuff, but actually, when you first boot this up, it's at 0% processor at idle, about 22% of the RAM being used, 0 disk and 0 network. Whereas before, even at idle, this system would have 1-2% processor being used. It now actually, it's not going to do it now, I'm bloody recording it. There you go. It now throttles back to 0%, pretty much regular as clockwork. And because of that, it's given the processor a chance to downclock as and when it needs to. So as you can see, it's dropping the processor speed a lot more than it did previously. So clearly, something on my previous install was sitting in the background just doing stuff most of the time. But so yeah, I'm a bit annoyed, but this cleaner install of Windows is actually even cleaner than before, because you don't even need to have the Hewlett Packard help and support software on there anymore, because Windows does it all for you. So all of this stuff, the HP stuff, that's the 2 mouse drivers, that was all brought in by Windows. That's what I installed the HP help and support app stuff before for. The mobile data protection sensor, if you recall my first video where I say reinstall Windows, that was the only thing I didn't actually get installed by the HP help and support app. Well, actually, Windows now does it for you. So with this creators update of Windows, you put it in, and I've not had to install any third-party driver update utilities apart from the GeForce Experience. It did install the NVIDIA display driver as it would have done normally. However, I've installed the GeForce Experience for Shadow Play, and then obviously that then updates your graphics driver for you. But yeah, so whilst I am annoyed that I had to do a whole clean install of Windows, I have to admit it is running so much better right now. It's unbelievable. And as a bonus, I've managed to blag myself an extra 16-17 gig of space as well. Although I did that by deleting the Windows RE tools partition, because the reason I did that is when I reinstalled Windows the first time round, I ended up with 2 sort of recovery partitions. So I thought, okay, Windows must just create it when you reinstall it. However, it didn't. So I deleted both of the dead partitions, thinking they won't get used anymore, expecting Windows to create another one. But yeah, now I don't have a Windows RE tools partition. But it doesn't really matter, because I've got Windows on a USB stick, so if I did have any problems, I just shove the USB stick in and fix it, and then that way. But yeah, so as you can see, everything is just, I'm using less RAM than before. Before, my idle RAM usage was into the 30%. Now it sits at around 27%. Processors idling at, as you see, pretty much 0% usage, which I wasn't getting before. It was hovering around about 1 to 2% when it was idling before. Disk activity 0. Network is, it is just running so much better. So, and I've not lost anything. The only thing I've lost doing that is the Grand Theft Auto 4 save. Everything else is in place as it should be. So, yeah. So having to reinstall Windows and have like 2 days worth of faffing to try and figure out, and it turns out IPv6, which was working in the previously, has now suddenly become an issue. So I don't know if BT are having problems with IPv6 or whatnot. So yeah. Anyway, I'll finish this stream for now. I'm going to be streaming again in a minute because I'm going to be testing using OBS to stream games instead of Shadowplay to see if that gives me a performance increase. So yes, I shall be back again in a minute. Thank you for watching.